All right, what's up,
Sure.
guys? How's it going? I'm here with Ezekiel Lau, professional waterman, professional surfer, big wave surfer, competitor on the world tour, and now downwind foil fanatic. And we're stoked. We've been bringing him along, but he's actually been around for plenty years and started with us way back in the early days when we were doing prone Kaikos runs. And I just remember just being so stoked because um it was exciting to see like watermen like you and Kiko Casimiro and John Florence and all those guys like take a liking to foiling, which was kind of like almost for any of us, it's almost like taboo. Like, bro, these guys are pro surfers and they're hopping around foiling, but then also just get into the downwinding, and we just knew that bro, I wonder how these guys feel or think, and yeah, man, it's been a crazy journey. And then we linked up again recently to get you out there downwinding in Mauna Loa Bay and the big bumps, and we tried proning. I think it's for all of us too, even for me, the core surfer and all of us was kind of like staving off the SUP um for the long time. But
Yeah.
now we're in it, like, and I'm sure we'll get into this, but I still don't classify, identify, or categorize myself as like a sub fanatic, but it's just like a means for me to downwind just more vastly, in all kind of places and all kind of areas. But anyways, enough of me talking, bro.
No.
How did you get into it? And let's reflect from the early days and what that Stoke was like, and what was different for you, because you came from such a prominent surf community, so
Yeah. No, and thanks for having me on. I'm like stoked to be in the Voyager crew, and
automatic.
um but yeah, it was just something that kind of caught me off guard. Like it was a random thing. I think the Monizes actually were kind of into it. Uncle Tony was going. He was kind of all psyched on it. And I went and tried with them one day. I forget where we were. I think we were at Diamond Head, and it just blew my mind. I couldn't
Terrible,
believe. First of all,
terrible place to
terrible,
live, you know.
terrible face, horrible. And then I like, first of all, I couldn't believe that I couldn't do it and how hard it was. And I was like, what
Mm.
the hell? This like looks like surfing. Like I should be able to do this. And then that kind of sparked my interest. I was like, brah, I cannot let this not. I cannot have this thing like just conquer me. I got to figure out how to just do it. And then yeah, I figured out. Uncle Tony helped me get us set up, and I was going every day. Like at that point in time, it was weird. Like I forget what was happening. I think it was off season. So luckily, like I was at home and like
Mm.
kind of not much going on. I would like straight up go down to Baby Mox and just stay there for like 5 hours until I got it. And I was doing that for like a month straight, all secret. Didn't want to tell anybody until I could actually do it. And then gradually like started going other places. Then we found like China Walls was fun to do it, and it kind of just became my like kind of had this new stoke for like everything in the water after that. I felt like I started brand new where, I've been surfing for so long and doing it at like the professional level for so long at that point. Like it kind of was getting like stale and like
Mm.
sometimes just super repetitive. And the foiling just brought this fresh energy
Yeah.
with me. And in the ocean, it was a different way to read the ocean, different way to enjoy the ocean, and different way to surf generally. And I just had so much fun. And then yeah, and then John them started doing it, and then eventually couple years down the line, everyone was sending those Kaikos runs, and it was like game changing.
Right. So what it like for me, that's what like we were so curious about, because it was kind of like super. I wouldn't say it was groundbreaking because Kai Lenny and those guys have been downwinding forever, but
Yeah.
we always reflect back, and it was like the foiling and the downwinding was really only accessible to those professional watermen because they had the jet skis, or
Yeah.
foils weren't readily accessible to the market and the
Mm.
normal people just yet, right? And, like when we started, we were like buying old foils. Jack had a sketchy foil from China that he learned on, and
Yeah.
we had no idea. Like, I think there was maybe one or two guys. I think only one at the time was John Amundsen, only making foil
Yeah.
boards, and we were kind of picking up old surfboards and so. But yeah, let's try put tracks in this. I think Scotty Foil Wizard ended up his first board was. I mean, I'll let him say this, but from my recount of it is that his first board was like some old Magic knee board that they just put track
Yeah.
boxes in, and so at that time it was pretty groundbreaking and for us and then downwinding in the way that we did it, which was catching a wave off of Kaikos and propelling ourselves or projecting ourselves out into the wind line and going down unassisted, which was
Hmm.
cool. But like I remember being so curious, like, bro, I wonder what the surfers like think about this,
Yeah.
because it's just something so different. For me, I was excited because I was a canoe paddler and I knew what it was like to ride the ocean like that. But
Hmm.
for you guys are riding the ocean in the most extreme way, out at Pipe, out at Waimea and all these crazy, surf breaks around the world. And I was like pumped. I knew like we were on the right track when like yeah, the guys like yourself and John and all the pro surfers were like taking a liking to downwinding, and it's been epic.
Yeah, for sure. And to go back to like how my first board was a John Amundsen that I got. He had started making it, so I ordered one of those. But I even seen the first one of John's boards. They were like slapping foil boxes on their like straight up surfboards with fins on
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
like they would come out of the water. There's three fins on the back of the board, and
Bro,
they were
you know
just
what?
going, and
Funny
it was
story.
classic.
The first time I met Andrew Gibbons, who's like, one of the fastest downwind foilers in the world right now. The first time I met him, like we all like judge this guy because he's just like, bro, how's this guy? He's like one foiler. He doesn't have one foil board. And he had like those hybrid boards. There was like a surfboard that had
Yeah.
the fin boxes and then the track boxes. But like little did we know, like, bro, like this guy was just grinding and like super
Yeah.
talented, you know. And here he is
No.
now
Yeah.
dominating. But it was
For
exciting
sure.
times, exciting times, and like yeah, we were all stoked to see guys like you guys like crossover and yeah, find a stoke and a passion in downwinding. So for you, bro, like maybe you can share with us like what it's like, or just like if you had a sales pitch right now to any surfer, um, for downwinding, like what would your pitch be, or like what has your journey been like? I know it's probably a
But
hard
I
like
tell guys all the
question, but
time. No, I tell guys all the time. Like the reason why I got so hooked was that initial feeling of the glide
mhm.
was like nothing I ever felt before. Before I started foiling, I never been snowboarding either, by the way.
Yeah, me
So
neither.
like it was like a whole it was like a new feeling, but like kind of familiar, like familiar enough.
Hmm.
But basically it was like the best feeling I could imagine like when I'm surfing.
Hmm.
Like maybe the only other thing comparable would be like in the barrel. Like that light, quiet, like everything, you're kind of in this weird zone. And that glide when you get a bunch of speed and you're going fast and like, you're kind of just like tripping. It's super hard to explain, but it's just like a glide and speed and every time kind of stands still for that couple seconds. Like feels like you're in the barrel. Like that's what I always thought. I was like, bro, it feels like I'm getting barreled for however long, like whether I'm on a surf when I was doing like surf foiling. And then the downwinding was like, bro, I'm doing it for like miles now.
Miles
Like
now, yeah.
this is like ridiculous. And then from there it was like that was insane. So I was just chasing that feeling all the time. I even brought my foil on the road, like on tour.
Yeah.
So I packed my boards, I throw my foil board in my board bag with like I had a Cloud9 setup and it came with a little travel pack. I took it all year with me. I think it was 2018. Came with me everywhere. And I was just foiling in between and it was actually one of my best years on tour actually
Mhm.
because I think I was just so stoked the whole time. I had something in my back pocket that
fresh.
was just like took me away. I kind of just had fun with like where I was, and it kind of just gave me a fresh perspective. So it was pretty insane.
Yeah, people ask me all the time. They're like, "Oh, bro, like you is your surfing worse?" And I tell them like, "Bro, no way." Like
Yeah,
one, my legs are stronger.
yeah,
We get so much reps of riding time and just so much carves and turns that when I come back to surfing, like there's no rust and I can
yeah,
come back into it. We're going so fast on foil all the time. So coming back and surfing a wave, it's a lot easier to read because the speed is like our mind is reading everything that's going on so much quicker when we're foiling. So when we're
yeah,
surfing, it's a lot easier to read. And then just having that trust factor is like, bro, I got three fins and two rails to
yeah,
get into, you know?
yeah,
And so, and I'm sure like, yeah, like just like you said, just kind of having that healthy balance of doing something different and
mhm,
yeah, I could definitely see how surfing super competitively on tour and you just gotta like in a way like it's nuts, but like in a way like you gotta tip yourself or tip your hats to those guys who are just grinding, man, and just going out when
yeah,
it's junk and
yeah,
you know, but like, I mean, I was never on tour, but like you did that and it's just, like sometimes maybe your stoke or your passion or your drive changes and it's just for me, like what is exciting about foiling and downwind foiling, like one, it's constantly evolving.
mhm,
But it's also like, bro, like I'm in my mid 30s, like we're supposed to be like peak male right now. And like we like know it all and we're kind of like figuring it out. Like for you, even for you, you're at the top of surfing and you're an expert, bro. Double black diamond expert, catching waves at Pipe and Waimea. and
mhm,
and here it is and you're just rattled by something new and you're just like
yeah,
you got to learn and I think that's a healthy thing is us being um like adult males like and we're just so flabbergasted like bro like I need to figure this out and it's like, exciting to figure it out along
yeah, for sure.
in every stage.
And I think that's the best part about it, though. That's what like intrigued me the most was that I couldn't do it. I was like, bruh, what? There's no way. But it was because I spent so much time doing one thing and being
Mhm.
good at that thing and perfecting it over and over and over. This was just like so much learning, so much growing in like a small period of time where like I forget who maybe I was talking to you or whatever. Like I was talking to someone, but like when you do something for so long, like to see gains is
Yeah.
really hard because you're so good and you're at that level and like to find gains is like almost a breakthrough moment
Yeah.
where like when you're at the beginning every time you go you're pretty much gaining,
Oh yeah.
you're seeing gains happening, you're seeing change, you're seeing growth. And it almost taught me like, bro, that's what it's all about. It's the most fun part is being the beginner and
Mhm.
having a beginner's mind and being so stoked every time to go because like, oh, I'm gonna learn something new, it's gonna be sick, like I might struggle but at the end of it I'm gonna learn and I'm gonna get better and I'm gonna come back tomorrow, I'm gonna be better than today. So that whole concept was really good and it kind of transferred into my surfing where maybe I was stagnant in something or was just in a rut or hitting a wall of like growth, to
Mhm.
where this kind of opened my mind to be like maybe I need to look at things differently or get more excited about the little things and
Yeah.
have a beginner's mind when I go back to what I do every day.
Yeah, so what are some of the things that you take from foiling back to surfing? And it could be foiling and even downwinding physically, mentally, and gear and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was kind of everything. At first it was more so like mental focus and training, like when we're doing the Kaikos downwind runs, like you don't want to fall. You're going to have a crazy consequence of like paddling in.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like locking into that zone and being super concentrated for that period of time, and then doing that over and over and over, so that when I was competing, I was like able to find that zone more frequently,
And be,
and
be
focus.
comfortable on your
Yeah,
uncomfortable like state of
exactly.
mind. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also just like the fitness level, I was like, wow, I can get way more like endurance and cardio with my legs by doing this. So I
Mm.
even was getting ready for a surf ranch event, and I was like, the best thing I can do, the only thing that I could feel the same, like replicate like how my legs feel after surfing one of those waves at the surf ranch was foiling. So I
Mm.
just foiled every day. That was like my training cardio for the surf ranch. And then I went back and I was like smoking. My leg didn't even, it had no lactic acid. I was gassing out. So like I was using foiling to like uh me with my surfing a lot actually. And like it's so funny because people are like, oh, it's gonna mess up your surfing, but it was actually helping me out a lot, like how I looked at things. And then also just reading the ocean in a different way, finding energy, learning more about what tides and winds do
Mm.
for different things, and then help me forecast better, help me
Mm.
like just understand more about what I was doing, because it was just a whole different way for me to surf and do it. And then it was just like that was all within that Kaikos Downwind era. And I know everyone was starting to send the HK ones, but I was like, okay, maybe that's a little bit too high risk. I don't need to do that. That was gnarly.
So with
But
all the downwinning that you've done, would you send one from China's on your prone right now?
now I feel like I would, yeah.
Could, yeah, could, yeah.
I think now I could, just because I like read the bumps better, and I am also not as scared of like getting stuck out there because the whole SUP learning journey was me being stuck out there for
Yeah,
so long.
yeah,
And I got so comfortable every part of that run. Like now I just know where I am. I know like just the comfort is there more
yeah.
so where like I don't think people would even have thought like how scared I actually was every time I was going down there. I was like, bro, this is gonna suck. Like I'm literally gonna be stuck out there and you're alone. You go down with everyone, you go down with 15 guys, and in 5 minutes I'm absolutely alone by myself, a mile out, like kind of tripping. And then it just like it was tripping me out how uncomfortable I felt in open ocean,
Yeah.
and what a different like just a whole different environment it was for me. I was so used to just like I was even telling guys like I'd rather take off on a freaking 30-foot wave and eat shit than get stuck out there by myself
Uh,
again.
it,
But I
it
knew you just have to keep doing it.
it's crazy because it's one of those moments where you feel so tiny and insignificant.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, if you like were to
Just
think
so
about it,
humbling.
yeah, if you were to think about it like realistically what the dangers are, like we're not too far, we have a big board, we can paddle in, we
Yeah.
have water, we have our phone and stuff,
Hmm.
but there is like a crazy sense of fear, panic, and anxiety that's
Yeah.
just, and that's what's to me is like one of the most challenging parts about sup downwind foiling is just
Yeah.
sticking with it and just enduring that mental uncomfortableness, it's
And
gnarly.
but that was like that was another thing, like mentally every time like I'm going out there and I'm just gonna have like this moment with myself to like there's no coach, there's no like person like yeah, guys were helping me, but there's only so much they can do really.
Yeah,
So like they start out with you and they give you some pointers and then you're
and then
kind
they're
of on your
gone.
own.
Yeah.
But it was just this whole mental battle I'm having with myself, like, fuck, why am I doing this? Bro, I'm so over this. Oh, I gotta paddle all the way in. I'm gonna go in right now. No, I gotta finish. Like all these thoughts, and I have to like. There's times where I have to just sit there and wait for all the thoughts to just flood out,
Mhm.
and go, okay, now I gotta get back to
Off
actually trying
already.
to do this. Yeah,
Yeah.
no. Then you realize like all those thoughts is just noise, and it just takes a lot to work through them. But that can apply to like so much things in your everyday life. And
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like this is like really a lot of growth is happening,
Yeah.
whether it's in the foiling or just like personally, like getting stronger mentally or physically. Like there's so many good things about it. That's why I was like, I have to keep going. Like no matter how hard it is, like there's so many benefits happening. Physically taxing, mentally tough. But then after you endure the whole thing, whether it took you 4 hours, 2 hours, or half an hour, I got in afterwards and I was like, kind of stoked. I was like, holy crap, I just did that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it was like this weird stoke, but like if someone saw you out there just screaming all alone by yourself at just nothingness, you're just in the water by yourself, just yelling at the top of your lungs for nothing, basically. Like it's just comical when you think about it when you're back on land.
It's not. So what eventually drew you or attracted you to really thrust yourself into like sup downwind and just taking the bigger chunks of downwinding, beyond Kaikos.
Well, Jesse Yoniver wouldn't let it go. I think he talked every time I seen him, he hammered me about it for like a year.
Yeah.
Like he's like, "Bro, you got to do it. Just hurry up and buy a board." He was sending me links to buy boards and
Yeah.
everything, and I was like, "Oh, I don't want to get into it right now." Like I kept pushing it off, and then honestly, when you called me up to just prone paddle
Mm.
into the bumps with your SUP board,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and then I actually did. I like got up, and then I kind of was like downwinding, and that was actually probably like the longest run I did
I
all
think
at once.
I think that was your first time too, like being in like deep,
Real bumps out
big
in the open
water
ocean.
bumps.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was my first time, and that was kind of, I was like, oh, this is kind of nuts actually.
yeah, yeah,
And that kind of sparked it. I was like, okay, I kind of want to try. Like even if I'm just like prone paddling in, I would do that.
yeah.
But then talking to all the boys, I talked to Jack, and they're like, yeah, it's kind of just lame if you just not using the paddle. And I was like, what? That's so backwards from everything I know right now. Um, but I was like, what? It's lame. They're like, yeah, bro, you gotta just use the paddle. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, then. So then I asked to borrow your board, and then I got a paddle and got a foil, and that was it. I was just like, I gotta figure this out.
What do you think was the toughest part? Um, I mean, we can go like, mentally, physically, or I mean, and you're still on like a very good climb. Like you can
Mhm.
downwind for sure. But yeah, like we were just talking before we press record, like how we're still out there on some, and even for me myself too. There's runs when I'm out there and I choose the wrong gear, I get too confident, and I take out the 600 size wing, and it's light winds. I'm just like, bro, like just you got to know what you're capable of, or
Yeah,
I mean, it's always good to push your limits, but it's also when you're too confident, the ocean's always going to humble you and,
yeah.
and smack you down. But what were some of the biggest obstacles or learning moments for you in the process? Or like if you had to go back and you were the coach of yourself, what would you tell yourself, or what would you change?
Um, Pretty much for me, the hardest part was learning how to use the paddle and
Mhm,
stand up paddle. Like that first initial part of like popping up in the bumps
mhm.
was definitely the one thing like that was just baffling me. Like I couldn't figure it out. The feeling was just so foreign. I'm standing up on a board that's stagnant, but like so unstable in this water, and I have to balance on it with a paddle in my hand and lean to one side and pull water hard enough to get going up to
Yep.
speed to catch these little bumps that I kind of know how to read, but not really at this stage of what I'm doing. Like
Right.
for me, like yeah, I can downwind, and if I'm up and going, I can read the bumps, but it's a total different read. I'm moving fast, I'm seeing things differently. I have speed, but then to read the bumps and find energy within it while I'm not moving yet was crazy. I didn't know how to read it. I was like, bro, what am I looking for? I don't understand what I'm feeling. I know what I'm supposed to do, but based on what I'm feeling, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So like that whole thing was baffling me. But if I could go back, I would have spent a lot more time in flat water practice with the paddle and the foil on like a super big wing and learning how to do that before I even went to the bumps.
Mhm, mhm.
But I also think like just being in the bumps when I went back to flat water, I knew what I was preparing for,
Yeah.
so I kind of understood like how it was supposed to translate.
You
But
almost
Brian,
appreciate the flat water a little bit more because you're
yeah,
prepping to go back out there. Yeah.
to go back out there, and I knew like how solid it had to be.
Mhm.
And Brian Tallarico, actually, he was kind of the man. He took the time to like go with me in flat water and kind of teach me, kind of some technique stuff and like what I'm looking for and what the kind of goal was, and give me some exercises. And then he let me borrow his huge wing,
Mhm.
and I would just go every day. So then I made that my new like obsession of like foiling, where how I used to go down to Baby Mocks every day for like 4 hours. I would just go in flat water and just go until I couldn't paddle anymore.
It's
And
crazy.
then,
What's crazy is like, bro, would like 5 months ago, would you would have ever thought that you'd be so excited to take your SUP board and go to like Hawaii Kai boat ramp and paddle
bro,
around in the flat?
no way. I would have never thought you'd catch me doing that at all, ever. Like with the paddle in my hand in general. Like
Right.
the paddle literally used to just scare me. Like I think I paddled like playing around like once or twice when I was younger.
Yeah.
But like to me, having my hands locked into something while I'm surfing just felt like wrong. Like I
Yeah.
don't want to do that. I want to
Yeah.
be free, you
Right.
know? Um, so just like down to like little stuff, how to hold the paddle, like my technique, like what I'm doing with my body and my upper body with my legs and everything. Like I had to learn every little step. Like it wasn't like, oh, I kind of knew a little bit. Like it was nothing.
There's nothing.
So like it was just building and being patient with myself and knowing like every day I'm just gonna have to play with it and figure it out. Like I'm not someone that's like super technical where like you can talk to me and give me all the information and then it'll translate. Like I'm someone, it just takes time. I gotta go play with it. I'll
Gotta
go
get
out, try
muscle
some
memory.
stuff, muscle memory. I take it out in the surf. I try some flat water. Like I test certain things out. That's kind of how I figure it out,
Mhm.
which will probably take a little longer. But for me, it just once I get it, it'll stick after that.
Mhm.
So it's
Mhm.
more so just being patient with myself and my own journey, and that's why I felt like it was so awesome and why I wanted to document it, because
Yeah.
I feel like that part right there is what stops a lot of people from even thinking about trying.
Mhm.
They're
And
like, I can't even get myself to do that part.
so what's beautiful about that, it only happens once. And then
Yeah.
when we all reflect back on it, and it's some of the best, funniest, like most dedicated times, like for
Yeah.
everybody, like me, Jack, Sturm, and
Mm-hmm.
Jesse, we all got like unique like learning struggles and just grinding the process. But the process is literally the best part. But
Yeah.
even not to like, even for me where I'm at, where like it's still so exciting to go out and foil,
Mm-hmm.
gears changing, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, foiling longer distances, foiling different parts of the world. Like, I
Yeah.
think you're gonna trip out when you go to Hood River, or, bro,
Mm-hmm.
even if you were back on tour and stuff, bro, like, and you go to France, bro,
Bring all my gear. Yeah.
France is like 80s energy, and it's that big, and the wind gets violent, and runs are
No
like
way.
80 miles long. you know, it's wild.
Brian, it's crazy. I seen a couple of Jack's videos of France, but like, yeah, it's crazy to me, like how it's changing so fast, but I feel like it's still so like, it's so new still.
Yeah.
Guys are still pioneering, like, and it's pretty epic. Like there's so many things with foiling that hasn't been done before yet, and it's just
Mhm.
cool to see where everything's gonna go. And I feel like it's growing so quick. And the best part about it is like how you're saying the process. Like I think foiling is probably the only thing where you'll get guys so psyched to try and get their friends to like try it. Like, ah, come on! Like everyone's convincing you to come
Yeah.
try. And I don't know if it's because, oh, I for sure know, like it's because it's super sick, but like they also know how hard it's gonna be for you,
Yeah.
and they like understand that part. But then they know once you get past it, looking back, it's like you're saying, like it's some of the best times. You think back, it's so classic and funny, and but that growth is just like unmatched. Like to be able to go through that is actually the best part.
What's funny, I don't know if this is a little sinister, but like when we're all talking with the crew and we like, if there's some crazy phenom that like gets it, like, or they stomp out a Hawaii Kai in their first run, or like somebody like
Yeah.
Hope Boss, like he already had all the background, and he's like, boom, like killing it already.
God,
We're
yeah.
like, damn,
That no count.
easy, look out.
Yeah,
But then, like, like once we get somebody that like we can see that they get so built up and excited to downwind, and they get so broken down, and then we see them climb up again. We're like,
yeah, yeah.
one of us,
Come
what?
on,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
it's
So
funny because
epic.
you look back and like from a handful of the guys that I've helped, like it's like this fine line and this fine balance where like if somebody has a shocker like inside, you're like, oh my gosh,
Yes,
oh yeah, let's go.
yeah.
But then
Like
like
that's what it's all about, right
that's what it's
there.
all
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
You got to earn your stripes, and then but
yeah,
at the same time you're like, well, okay, like nah, this shouldn't be happening. Like what could we
yeah.
do better? Like,
We can
you
help
gotta
you.
help.
Yeah,
Maybe it would be like, like you don't want to see somebody go out to pipe on the first time and just get just like a absolute kegger. Like
yeah.
it's
Well,
like more
because like
respect when you see somebody like put in the work and
pay
take
their
in
dues
there.
and put in their time. Like,
Yeah.
bro, when you if you just go out there and crack it, it's almost just like, bro, that was a gift. You didn't even earn that.
Yeah.
You didn't go through what I went through to earn that. Because every time I do have a good run, I have no problem saying like, "Fuck yeah, that was like, I killed that,"
Yeah.
because I earned the shit out of that.
Right.
I've been
Right.
spending the last 6 months trying to figure this out. Like that felt good, and
It's way more
that's
meaningful. Yeah.
way more meaningful. And like you go through all the emotions, all the ups and downs. I feel like I lived 10 years in that one little run that I did.
Bro, I mean, so like when you hand paddled that one time we went, that was less than 6 months ago, maybe, right? But it
Yeah, that
probably
was like
feels like
last
years.
summer, pretty much.
Yeah, I
That
mean, it
feels like
feels like
so long ago.
years ago, and
Yeah,
where you've come to now, and it's crazy, and you got Molokai coming up. What inspired you to send it? Like what does it mean for you as like an athlete, Hawaiian foiler, and ambitious to send it?
yeah. Well, I'm not competing for surfing right now. Or I am. I do like select events in Hawaii. That makes sense. I mean, I just want to be around my family, and
Mhm.
my daughter's just turned 2 years old, so I just want to be around and not have to travel around the world for the whole year. So um, I was kind of just home, and waves aren't that good all the time. So like I was on the foil journey, and I felt like it got to a place where I was good enough where I could just go do Hawaii Kai runs, and it was kind of like not as big of a deal.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then I just happened to be on Molokai with my friend, and then he convinced me to go do a Kamalo run. And I was like, bro, I don't know if I'm ready for that, bro. This is new waters. Like, that's not, I don't think this is smart, bro. I'm going to have a shocker for sure. I don't have my board. I don't have anything. I'm borrowing his stuff. It's like, bro, it's the best run. You got to just try. Please just come with me. I was like, bro, no, I'm not going. And he basically forced me. And then I had the best run of my life. I was like, holy crap. At that point, I never foiled for like 2 months, I don't think. Because I was surfing. It was like winter time. The waves were really good.
Mhm.
And pretty much that run changed my whole perspective. I was blown away. I rode a small wing. Like, it probably just, it blew my mind to the point where it kind of messed me up. Because I came back here. I was like, bro, I'm doing it. Signed up. We both signed up like that weekend, I think. It was like the week before the sign up opened up. It was crazy. He convinced me. He's like, bro, I'll do it with you. Let's go. Sign up for M2O. So I signed up. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to start training. Ordered some wings. Access was like down to like back me on this. So they're sending me some wings. And I started training. And then instantly I was like, oh crap, this is kind of gnarly. I don't think I'm ready for this. But I feel like I put myself out there already. And I was like, I'm just going to try. I'm going to use everything I've learned my whole life with competing and like training and like doing this in a whole new environment. And kind of just see what I'm made of. I know, like, I feel like I have my back against the wall, and it's like this mountain that I'm about to climb. But I feel like it's just gonna be really good for me in the place I'm at in my life right now. It'll keep me healthy. It'll keep me training. Give me an excuse to like really push myself. I felt like last year I was really in like this stagnant place where I wasn't really doing much. I just wake up, cruise home, go surf if the waves are good. If not, I'm just cruising. And I feel like I probably need to push myself a little more and kind of get on and get me into this mode of like, I just am basically doing it to keep me healthy.
Yeah.
And then the Molokai thing is pushing me to like stay on a program and get a routine and like really do it. And it's kind of bringing up more competitive fire because I haven't been competing like full time in the last few years. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, it's kind of just spur of the moment and just like I'm kind of just going for it. And I just feel like it's going to be really good for me. I'm going to learn a lot about myself and learn something new. So that's pretty much what it is. And I'm just going to full commit and just see what happens, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It to me, like crossing channel, island to island, doing what our ancestors did. But it's
Yeah.
almost, for us growing up, there's been like such like a nostalgic like
Yeah.
thing to like crossing channels. And it's almost like a waterman's rite of passage.
For sure. And I actually was thinking about, remember, I was actually doing prone paddles. Like I'll do the
Oh yeah, yeah,
8K
yeah, yeah.
prone.
Yeah.
So I was doing that to train. And then while I was doing that, I was like, oh, maybe I should try and like paddle the channel, like since I'm doing this so much.
Right.
And then I was like, that's probably going to suck super bad. Just paddling that long.
I can
It's like,
confirm it's probably, yeah, it's the
it
worst way
sounds
to do it.
rugged.
Yeah, the
And
worst
then
way to do it.
this is, I looked at this, I was like, if I'm going to cross the channel, like, this is the way to do it. This is surfing across the whole channel. So
Hmm.
I feel
Hmm.
like this was another thing. And like, yeah, for me, as like a Hawaiian waterman, I feel like it's a good like tick. You tick that one
On
off the
the
box.
resume. Yeah, for
Have it
sure.
on the resume, cross the channel, and I feel like it's a fun way for me to do it. And it's still pretty gnarly for me at this stage. Like, I know if I had given myself like 2 or 3 years to train, it probably wouldn't be so like daunting for me.
Hmm.
But I feel like for right now and just like kind of push myself, see what I'm made of, just go out there and do it and not put too much expectation or pressure on myself, but just like cross the channel and finish and see what it's all about.
Yeah. It it's crazy because I've done a bunch of channels on the canoe, but it really takes a lot of time, effort, and dedication, especially on the canoe because it's like a 4.5, 5 hour race. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times we're training 4 or 5 months out of the year. And here we are, we're about maybe like a month and a half out, and we're training. I reflect back for us when um and how our evolution or idea of how to prepare for this race has changed. In year one, the first year that a bunch of us did it, the Voyager crew was it 2025, 2023 maybe. And so that was like flat water start right off the beach and go, and it ended in Hawaii Kai. And the sport wasn't super. It was like we're all riding like big wings, and nothing was super high aspect. So it was like kind of like, okay, can we do this? And we did it. And then the next year was like, okay, what can we take from last year and how can we get better? So a lot of guys, and it changed again, right? So a lot of guys rode tiny wings, and Edo smashed it on a 600 size wing, which was crazy. And
Crazy.
whenever I tell all my paddling buddies or people who crossed the challenge before, like, yeah, bro, Elio point to Kaimana under 2 hours, and they're just like, boom, they're just minds blown. You
Did
know,
he do it under? He did it under 2 hours.
I think it was like 159, or it was like right around 2 hours. I can't remember if it
He
was right
broke.
under or right
He
north of
broke
two.
2 hours.
Yeah,
Because I tried to look on the website for the times and didn't actually
didn't
have
have it.
his.
Oh, wow.
Like, didn't update it. Like the last one was Kai Lenny's was from 2019. So like that was the
Mhm.
last time. So I was trying to see like what his time was, but
The
that's
benchmark is, yeah.
insane.
And then for I think for a lot of us this year, now we can get like we have a little bit more understanding because we have a better understanding of our gear, what works, and
Mm-hmm.
how to approach it. And for me, like I've been excited to like actually like train and like methodically train.
Mm-hmm.
Um whether it's surf foiling, running, swimming. And, I look at going on a Hawaii Kai run as it's just, that's more of like a mental, like keeping mentally sharp and keeping
Sharp, yeah.
just in tune with your gear. But a lot of your fitness and your speed and your performance comes from training.
Mhm.
So what, bro, I actually watched a couple of your episodes and I was like, bro, this guy was like, for your first time doing the channel crossing, and which is going to demand uh the highest performance and the most out of your body because it's so physically and mentally demanding. you know um when we were training for it, was like we were just going as much as we could. And like a lot of us, like for me personally, I was like, bro, I can foil for like 20-30 miles, but I don't feel like fit because I'm not doing anything on the side.
Yeah.
But because when we're downwinding, we're standing there pretty much, and it's just,
Yeah.
you get pretty comfortable, and you get into rhythm.
The
And
better you get at reading it, like the easier you can actually make it for yourself.
yes, yes. But so I watched a couple of your training vlogs, and I was like, bro, he's onto it, bro. Like he knows. So you like, what was that like? Or what are some of your like concepts or theories, or what is your program like, or what do you feel like is working best for you, and what do you think is going to be good?
Yeah, so pretty much, I was on a flight. I was coming back home and I had a while to myself and I just sat on the flight and I thought about, okay, if I'm really going to do this, like, what do I think is going to be required out of my body? Like, where are my weak links? Like, I am not a long distance athlete. I've been training for over a decade to just be explosive in short pockets of time
Yeah.
and then like just interval training, but
Mhm.
not very long. Um, my heat is only 30 minutes. I catch like, bro, if I serve a good heat, I catch 2 waves and it's done. So like really it's not that much like it's more performance, like high performance training, being able to perform at a high level under pressure. But then when I look at this, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need to be able to like keep focus, and two, my body's gonna need to be able to generate output for over 2 hours. Because I mean, I'm not Edo, so I probably won't break the 2 hour mark. I'm probably gonna be looking at like, three. If I can break the 3 hour mark, I'll be pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
But if not, like I kind of got to be prepared for more. So I was looking at endurance in my legs and my feet to be able to like withstand all the foiling, and then also like handling the paddle. Like I
Right.
would get pretty sore after, like if I had a shocker and couldn't pop up, like my back and stuff, like my forearms would get sore. I'm not used to like gripping onto a paddle.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, two things. I'm probably gonna run Coco Head because I feel like that's the best way to like. It's almost like a natural stairmaster. You just go up that thing and then push my heart rate and be able to like be okay and still perform and move while my heart rate's just jacked,
Mhm.
and then recover and come down and then do it again. So Coco Head's been one of my main things. So I'll do that twice a week. And then, or I was actually doing it 3 times a week, but I felt like when I was getting better, I was like, okay, it's getting too short. Like
Yeah.
I'm doing it in 14, 15 minutes. Like that's a sprint in the race. Like that's ridiculous. That's probably just my pop up and then got to be able to go. So I ended up trading one of those out for a longer run. So I'll
Mhm.
run for like, I just ran until I felt like it was like an hour. So it was like
Yeah.
a little over 6 miles. I was running at like a 10-minute pace. So I would just do two Coco Head runs and a long run, and then plenty of flat water practice.
Mhm.
Because I felt like that's the part that's going to give me the most conditioning, because that's the part that gasses me out the most. Like I said, I can downwind and I find pockets where I can rest and recover and keep going. But for me, mostly, if I know I can go an hour, 2 hour at a low heart rate, but if I can do that after I exert myself, like almost redline myself for the pop up, then I know like, yeah, I'm for sure ready.
Mhm.
So I really focus on a lot of flat water practice, even though I'm popping up. And like even like the pop-ups still sometimes don't happen, they're difficult, but even more so since I'm doing the flat water practice, when I am having a shocker, I'm able to go, okay, I'm good, maybe rest like a minute or two, and then I can keep going. Now I know I'm eventually going to pop up. So for me, the flat water practice was actually good, not only good technique practice, but good like cardio, like training for the most
Also,
part.
also too, like mentally, right? I feel like foiling is one of those unique things where you transition so much between like, okay, it's super physical and then it's super mental. You know, like
Yeah.
the times when like you're not popping up right away, you just got to relax, or like the
Mm-hmm.
times when you're like paddling up, or you're having a hard time balancing, you just tell yourself relax, bro, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
just flush it all out and you can jam it, or
For
even
sure.
to like I remember, being on the starting line and noticing everybody on the side of you, and everyone's popping up and you're not popping up, and you just like your body starts failing because you just feel all weak and you're like, bro, why isn't it happening?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and there's that, or even when you're up on foil, right? And you're just
Mm-hmm.
constantly looking around at who is where and how fast they're going and what they're doing, what line they're
Mm-hmm.
taking. But a lot of times it's just having that race composure to just lock in, and
Yeah.
like, bro, like that's why I was pretty pumped on the audio I found in that one video we collabed on, where she's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I don't care who, like, I'm not racing anybody, it's
Yeah.
racing yourself, and
You're on your own journey.
it's true, bro, and when you focus on yourself, you'll be performing your best, and that's all you can ask for, really.
For sure too. And like with the training, like I always like am looking back at like how to get better, and I look back at my career, I'm like, oh, since I'm training now, like what do I feel like I could have did better at? And mostly it's like the consistency. There's always pockets where I train really hard and then pockets where I like was slacking off. So
Yeah.
my main thing with this all the way up until the race day is consistency. Like sticking to my program and like being on myself every week after week after week. And that's like it's cool that I'm doing the videos and I'm sharing, but mostly I'm doing it to keep myself accountable
Animal.
because I'm basically logging and showing like, hey, this is what I'm doing, and I feel like if I'm filming and I'm committed to like showing the whole process, like I got to do it. Like I can't be just slacking off and just say, oh, I just not gonna train today, guys.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's the biggest thing, and um, that's helping me a lot, and just I feel like I'm in better shape now than when I was freaking competing professionally on tour. It cracks me up all the time.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, um, having this methodical approach, and with training and physicality, and just, having your approach to it. Were you Did you draw this any of your experiences from professional surfing? I'm like, because I'm sure like a lot of guys, there was like a while where, we just thought that surfers were just surfing, but then you see like them doing workouts with medicine balls and all kinds
Yeah.
of stuff. Are there anything that you pulled or experience that you grabbed from that realm over to downwind foiling?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we used to train really specific. So, like, we weren't really training super hard, really. It was more so like
Explosive.
practicing
Yeah.
explosive, specific things that were going to help and translate in the water. So, like, if I was like working on paddling or working on like airs or something, I would do like specific jumping and landing stuff to like replicate that on land just
Mhm.
to create more muscle memory. So, actually, when I was doing a lot of flat water practice, I realized like I would lose control of the paddle like a lot when I would get tired. And it was making it really hard for me to like do that. And I realized like my grip, me grabbing something was really bad. So I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try to get that stronger. And I just started doing like bent over rows
Mm.
to kind of just like engage my lat more, and then engage like my grip of like grabbing the weight more. And I
Mhm.
would just like whenever I ran cold I would come home and I would just bang out like a few sets of those
Yeah.
consistently as like my training. So like when I would go back, I would have a little bit more like oomph in my paddle, and I feel like it helped a lot. I felt like I was like over like more controlling the paddle more and like kind of jamming it when I wanted to instead of like kind of flopping it around and just like
Right.
almost letting it handle me. I was like more like, yeah, I gotta like just really pound it out. And then that one practice session we did was like within this instability, I gotta like jam through that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
like all those things, like, and my training, I like made a whole program, and I've actually tweaked it a lot from like its original plan. And just me being like, open and like just trusting my instinct, like this is what's gonna translate more. I just change it, and just for me, if I'm like just feel like I'm consistently putting in enough work week after week, like I'm happy with that.
Also, too, it's like, from the time that we've, I don't know, like, done the flat water practice and stuff, you're still just like rocketing and climbing in your progression and getting better. So it's like you
Mm-hmm.
don't necessarily need to focus so much on this or that, and you're getting better. And so now, like, your whole realm of training is like growing. Like, okay, like
Mm-hmm.
now that I know that I can pop up and paddle good, like, bro, I'm gonna send a run from 80s, or I'm gonna do a long run
Yeah.
on Molokai or something. And so you can kind
Mm-hmm.
of grow in that way too. So it's kind of exciting, like a lot to
Yeah,
look
for
forward
sure.
to. Like your
Yeah,
training
and
evolving too.
I'm still at that like beginner, like I'm learning a lot and I'm able to do a lot more now, but I'm still at like the base. I feel like there's so much more. Like I'm still on like relatively big wing too,
Right.
which is crazy because I feel like it's not that big of a wing. It's like under a 900,
Yeah.
but like right now in racing terms, that's a big wing.
Yeah.
So there's so much room for me to change and move, and like for me, it's like being okay and like taking my time with it because there's no rush. Like it just gets better as like there's more things you can tweak and get better down the line. Like just focus on what's working right now and being okay with that, not putting too much expectation on it. Just like just enjoy where I'm at and enjoy this journey of me being able to like if I think back where I was 6 months ago, like I'd be psyching at what I'm doing right now,
Oh yeah.
to be able to go do a
Doing
run
it.
and I'm getting up with the boys and I'm looking around and guys are going with me. Like
Right.
that little thing right there is like stoking me out so much because I always just wanted to like it would break my whole soul to just be broken watching guys just go and disappear in the distance and I'm still at the start line.
Right. Right.
So like those little things are epic and like um yeah, doing longer runs like I never thought like I only just did ADs like a month or two ago for the
Mm-hmm.
first time.
Mm-hmm.
And like that was like a huge barrier that I had to break. I was
It,
so fearing that Hanauma zone. Now I feel like whatever. If I have a shocker, I have a shocker, but I'm down to send it.
yeah. It's crazy because it's still like with our big crew here on Oahu, and even guys when they come over from Maui, they still got a healthy sense of fear for that body of water. And
Yeah.
people make mistakes, and there could be, all these variables that can happen, whether a backwash hits you, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe you get too much speed and you run into something.
Mm-hmm.
But mistakes can happen to anybody, but it's just putting yourself in those situations more often, so you're comfortable with it and you can accept it, but also, the more looks you have at it, you'll have a more of a technical advantage on how to conquer it next time. But you got to put yourself
Yeah,
in
for sure.
position, and
Gotta
that's what you're doing,
the
bro.
the craziest thing is if you want to get better, you have to be willing to just go. I might have the worst time of my life right now,
Yeah.
but I got to do it and just like get through it. And then the next time is like crazy how much better it is the next time.
Yeah.
Like from my first time I did ADs, like I had to get picked. I was texting guys like, bro, pick me up
I
at the
remember that
blowhole,
text,
bro.
bro. You know
I
what I was
did not
thinking? I
make
was
it.
like, bro, bro, don't give up, bro. Just keep paddling down the coast. You can get them. But
I
then
know.
it's like that was your probably first time, and then like the real anxiety and fear of being in that water, and then you're just kind of like, bro, I'm coming in, rather than like, okay, to push, you know. But it's like it's
I
that
fully.
real, bro. You know.
I was like, bro, no, I'm not getting up. I know for sure I'm not getting up. I might as well go in. I went in at the blowhole and I was like, luckily I had my phone. I was like, bro, if you guys come back this way, pick me up. But then luckily I walked down to Sandy's and got a ride to China walls, and I was like, okay, I need to at least do Chinas.
Yeah, right, right.
So I went up and I stomped the Chinas run, but I still felt pretty like, oh, kind of bitched out on that one. I got to do it again.
Yeah.
So I went back and I did it again. Obviously, fell again, but this time just like, okay, I'm just gonna work on getting back up.
Yeah.
Pop back up, fall again, pop back up, fall again, and then I did it. I just crossed the Hanama part of the channel, and that right there was like a huge mental like
Unlock new
breakthrough.
level. Kind. Yeah.
Yeah, unlocked it, went through it. The next time I did it, I stomped the whole thing first
Yeah.
try, like
Yeah.
right when I got up. So I was pretty stoked, and that was a huge one for me. Broke that one. That was the longest run I did up until that point, and then now I feel like way more confident doing other runs, way more confident going longer. The new places and the new bodies of water definitely still freak me out. Just like being unfamiliar with like the different channels and like how the water moves out there is pretty crazy. But that's why there's so much more to learn, so much more things that I can get better at and do. It's like just exciting, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing is whenever you change your gear, whether it's wing, you downsize a wing, you try a new tail wing, or you try a new board, or you try new waters, it's you're now relying solely on your technique and your fundamentals,
Mm-hmm.
and you're trying to cancel out, those new variables. And so
For sure.
it's always a test. So whenever you feeling like super comfortable on Hawaii Chiron, drop,
Yeah.
drop your wing size,
Drop the wing
get a
size.
smaller board. And
Yeah.
it's cool because even when you go on a smaller board, like it's a different experience. Like
Yeah.
it's harder to pop up, but then when you're riding, you're like, wow, this thing actually like pumps super good. I
This
can
thing is
crank
super
turns,
sick.
and it's different. And I guess what I'm expressing it's cool because when you start doing all these things, the 80 runs and Hawaii, and you start checking off these boxes, you have a chance to revisit it all and change out all kind of different ingredients in the recipe, you
Yeah.
know, and and for us, like I remember there was a moment last year when we were like all psyching to go on like 1 out of 10s. Be like, bro, we're gonna send it. It's like 5 miles an hour, like, and we just like there would be like 10 of us, and we're like all like jonesing, like
We're gonna go out and just flat water start all the way down.
exactly. But it was exciting because it was like
Yeah.
it was miserable, but it was like something new, and it was like a new challenge, and that to me, like that's what's great about foiling. Like I said, we've all been doing it for 6 years now, and
Yeah.
I still feel like I got so much to learn and so much new things to try and so much things to do. We got this big thing coming up, like we're gonna try
Yeah.
to do a 70 miler from Molokai.
Bruh.
I'm
I can't
nervous.
believe I can't even imagine myself going 70 miles. But I didn't imagine myself doing 80s too.
Yeah,
Like that's the crazy part. Like it can just keep going and then you don't know it's possible until you go and do it. And you're like, bro, it's totally possible. I mean, the kids did Oahu to Kauai. Like
right.
that's was that
100
100
miles.
miles?
100 miles.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
And
like there's
that's,
so much like like I'm saying, like it's at the pioneering stage still. And that's the best part about it. And I feel like this is probably one of like it's actually super like you always tell me like it's a crazy opportunity to be at this where we're at right now because there's so many things like you could be the first to do something,
yeah.
and it's just like there's not many things in your life that you're going to be able to like say or be even like have a chance to be able to conquer something like that no one else has done. So I feel
Yeah.
like it's super special right now, and
Yeah.
I'm just fortunate that I'm like here and I'm able to do it with you guys, and I'm just stoked to learn, and I'm psyched to be like I'm psyched to kind of be like almost like the Grom of the group. Like I know I'm not the youngest, but I feel like experience wise, I'm definitely the youngest. So I'm kind of always like on edge a little bit, and I'm just like following you guys.
Bro, it's classic because when you look at when you're down there at Tongs Avenue or Voyager Avenue in any
Yeah,
time of the day, and you're looking at guys like John, bro, like we're gonna see him tomorrow at like 6:30. He's waking up at 3:30, and bro, he's like probably sanding his foil every day. This isn't
Setting
just
his
tomorrow.
foot.
This isn't
Yeah,
just tomorrow. This is every day, bro. This guy's slamming 3, 4 runs, or like
no
even
matter what.
no matter what, bro. And then and then you got guys like Brian Tallarico, where he's just a hammer, bro, and he's
Yeah.
stoked. And then um that video that Sturman just put up where you just
Uncle
see
Jeff Chang was
Chang
just freaking
hammering.
hammering.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
bro,
that
that
was
was
so
beautiful.
nuts.
That was beautiful technique and beautiful attack.
Technique. Yeah.
Like I don't think I would ever look like that, and it was just, and I was just
So
blown away.
smooth and just like, I was tripping. I was like, oh my gosh.
And,
At
and
his
like
age too,
like
that's
a lot of
incredible.
people, like a lot of people say, like, bro, I wish I could be able to do that when we're
Yeah.
mid 60s. And I guess what I'm trying to say, it's so cool because with the big crew that we got, man, it's cool because it pulls in so much different humans, but we're
Yeah.
all on the same like
We're on the same journey, but like to me
journey.
that was like the best part too, is just like the guys that we were doing it with was like, for me, it was so refreshing coming from like surf background where like
Competitive surfing where you're, yeah,
I don't want to talk down on surfers,
no, no,
but there is like this weird thing where surfers stay really in their like comfort zone a lot. Like, oh, have my spot, surf here every day. I know I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna get waves. I'm at the top of the pecking order. I go out there, surf for an hour, get my waves, come in, grab my coffee, I'm good, set. I don't need to do anything else. Where like foiling is not that. It's so outside your comfort zone. You think you're comfortable and you'll have like a shocker randomly. Like and like that whole just like understanding and knowing, like how you're saying, everyone's gone through this struggle and earned their right to be able to stomp out runs, and then you all come together and everyone's so stoked. And like it's so different from surfing too, where like you want more guys to come with you, you want more guys involved,
yeah,
where like surfers are like, bro, don't come surf my spot. It's,
right.
we don't need more guys out there. You know what I mean? Like it's so refreshing to me, and I was super stoked to like meet everyone and just be involved with the whole new community. And like guys like Uncle Jeff or like John Hearn and like even Kale, like I didn't even realize he was like a nurse but pulls all-nighters and shows up and slams out runs. Like that's ridiculous, you know what I mean? Like
Full
I
zombie.
was tripping on that, like how hard it was for me to learn, but he was learning on the side of like having like in a super intense gnarly job like that. Like that's what he chose to use his free time with, like for me I
Or-
was inspired by that stuff.
yeah, it to me, yeah, that's the best. I mean, that's foiling all around, bro. it's
Yeah.
it's epic because we got a great community. It's good for our health, mind, body,
Yeah.
and soul. We're constantly learning. It's keeping us humble,
Mm-hmm.
there's no egos. It's a very like young and healthy sport, and it's on the
Yeah.
right path. And
Yeah,
yeah,
you kind of need everybody to do it. I mean, it's hard to do it alone.
yeah,
Like you can't do these runs. You need everyone, and I feel like it's so healthy for just for that thing, and it just makes it super fun. Like surfing is kind of like a lonely. Like I felt like for years I was just on this lonely path of like, okay, I do my own training, my own program. I bring my filmer. I go out and I attack these events, and I'm kind of like on my own deal. Where like this is just like a big group chat, and everyone's like planning out runs, and it's like it's just super fun. It feels like almost like a team sport in a way.
yeah, yeah. It's wild. Like I said, you're so stoked to see them struggle, but then you're also so like concerned, like, bro, where is he, bro? Like, cherish your location next time, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
Everyone's making sure everyone's safe, but then at the same time, what cracks me up is if someone goes down and like whatever, you'll have the guys come behind you and go, "Yup, it's all good, brother. We've been there, but I'm not gonna stop. I see you at the end."
yeah, no
All
one's stopping
underneath,
and
no
checking,
one's
bro.
stopping.
Yeah,
There's no friends once everybody's up on foil, bro. You better get to the end.
yeah.
But
It's
it's
epic.
so funny because it's just the whole dynamic is so unique, and I think it's super fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah, bro. I'm stoked to see you, and not to say that you've just been pulled into this community because you've been around for years and since the
Mhm.
Kaikos days, but I'm stoked that, it's becoming a more daily part of all of our lives, just to foil together, be together, learn together, and do all these new adventures and stuff. And bro, it's like we're still at the bottom of the mountain, and there's so much
Mhm.
cool things to do. I'll be stoked to see how, not that like it's important, but I'll be stoked to see how well you do in Molokai. And and like I said, it's not, the results aren't important. It's just the achievement is important. And like we could probably have like a full on another podcast about that. You know,
Yeah, yeah, for
and
sure.
it's gonna be an exciting couple months, man. Like, yeah, here we are. What is it? End of May. June is gonna be a critical month where we gotta
Mhm.
maybe start being a little bit more tactical and maybe intense, but maybe start winding down the long enduring, like, body breaking runs.
Yeah.
And then boom, and then it's like the nerves come back, bro. All these people
Hmm.
come from all over the world in July.
Yeah.
Australians, Europeans, Tahitians.
I
And
know.
it's like, bro, like I'm just walking you through my reflections, and you get so
Yeah.
excited because you like go test everybody's speed, but then you're like, no, I'm resting today. I got to taper, bro. And it's,
Yeah. Yeah.
gotta manage all that stuff, and then, bro, the whole experience of, yeah, M2M and M2O, and then, bro, once that monkey's off our back, then foiling is fun again. And then
Yeah. Yeah.
they all say like that the best run in July is the day after Molokai, whenever like
When everything's, yeah.
thing is done. You know what I mean? And we
Then
can
you're
go
going out for pure enjoyment and
pure
stuff. And
enjoyment. And then yeah, bro, like I can just see all next year, bro. Like, you'll probably start tinkering with stuff. And like, bro, let's see if I could ride on 600 size wing, and
yeah. Yeah.
you can. You're definitely more than capable physically and mentally. And it's just, you just got to just put in that work. But
Hmm. For
yeah,
sure.
bro, it's exciting, bro. You got any last words or anything you want to share before we sign off?
No, yeah, just thank you. I mean, thanks to you, thanks to Jesse, all the people that pushed me to like, start this journey. And I'm super stoked. I couldn't be happier with like being a part of this whole community and just be on this journey and experience what you guys have already, to me, already mastered and just like pushing the sport. I feel like all you guys are like, it's crazy because I go down, like you said, go down the tongues and we're doing runs and I feel like, holy crap, I'm doing it with like the best guys in the world. I mean, Edo is the best guy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like to have that influence and have that, those guys around, it's pretty epic. And I just feel, I'm honored to be able to do it. You guys have all the insight and thankful for all you guys coaching and help. I'm just super stoked to be doing this. And yeah, I can't wait to be doing the M2O with you guys on race day. And I haven't done, I haven't competed in anything else besides surfing in probably like 2 decades. So this is crazy. And I'm a little nervous, a little scared, but I feel like that's what makes it so fun and it's where I need to be. So, I'm super stoked and honored. So can't wait.
Right on, brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Great chat.
right on, Tim. Thank you.